Back in 1981, I had a near-death experience that changed my life forever. It all started with what was supposed to be a routine visit to the dentist. My mom had taken me, and at just 14 years old, I was given sweet air to ease the pain. But the pain didn't go away. I kept pulling away from the dentist, and then I heard him tell the assistant, "Turn up the nitrous oxide." About 30 seconds later, I felt myself floating right out of my body. I was up near the ceiling, looking down at everything. I kept calling out, "Hello? Can you see me? Can you hear me?" But no one responded. Then I went through the ceiling, rising higher and higher into the sky. Before I knew it, I was being pulled through a long, winding tunnel. At the end of it was a small pinhole of light, which opened into a vast, magnificent sky. It was breathtaking. As I slowly turned to the right, I saw enormous golden gates, miles high and miles wide. I floated through them into a field unlike anything on Earth. Every plant, every tree, every leaf was perfect, stretching endlessly in all directions. The colors, the feeling of love, it was overwhelming. I knew, deep inside, I was home. Moving through this garden, I felt a presence. In the distance, an angelic being approached, though she had no wings. She didn't speak with words, but somehow I could understand her. She guided me not by touch, but by a vibration I could feel deep in my soul. She led me to a place that looked like a park. And then, suddenly, she drifted away. I panicked, calling out in my mind, "Where are you going? Don't leave me." I had felt safe with her, as if I'd known her forever. Then I saw two elderly figures standing ahead of me. As they turned around, I realized they were my grandparents. My grandmother, who had passed earlier that year, and my grandfather, whom I had never met. "Grandpa?" I called out. He looked at my grandmother and said, "Hello, Sonny." I turned to my grandmother, but she didn't seem happy to see me. Instead, she simply said, "Go back." My grandfather asked her, "What's Philip doing here?" I didn't want to leave. Everything was too beautiful, too perfect. The love, the peace, it was more than anything I had ever known. But suddenly, I was being pulled backwards, away from them, back through the tunnel. I resisted, trying to hold on, even attempting to will myself back. For a moment, I caught a glimpse of that magnificent sky again, but then I was yanked away faster and faster until I crashed back into my body. I gasped for air. My chest was heaving. The first face I saw was my mother's. I wanted to tell her everything, to explain where I had been, but how could I? A few days later, when I was back home, I finally tried to explain it to my parents. I told them I had been to a place that I believed was heaven. But in 1981, things like this weren't easy to comprehend. There were no TV shows, no internet, nothing to validate what I had experienced. Just what we were taught in church. I felt lost, but I knew what I had seen was real. I felt it with every part of my soul. Time passed, and I eventually stopped talking about it. But a year later, something happened. It was a beautiful day in Staten Island, New York. I was in the backyard, looking up at the sun, and I whispered, "God, if I was really in your home, please give me a sign." That same day, my mom decided to take my brothers, sisters, and me for a walk. It was a nice day, and we were just enjoying the fresh air. As we walked, I suddenly felt a familiar vibration on my right side, the same one I had felt in heaven. I turned and saw a young girl. She smiled at me and said, "You can see me?" I was stunned. "Of course I can see you." I turned to my mom, my siblings. "Mom, look, that's the girl from heaven." But no one else saw her except my older sister. She was laughing and talking with the girl like they knew each other. "You know her?" I asked. "Of course," she said, "but I don't know from where." The girl had blonde hair, crystal blue eyes. and wore jeans with a flower-covered shirt, just like the flowers I had seen in heaven. She spoke to me through the mind, but when talking to my sister, she spoke out loud. She radiated peace. She made me feel like my prayer had been answered. Then, just as suddenly as she appeared, she was gone. My sister and I searched for her, but she had vanished. We were left with an overwhelming feeling that we had known her before, but from where? Later, we realized something. Before I was born, my mom had lost a baby girl just a few weeks after birth. A sister I had never met. We believe with all our hearts that it was her. Heaven is real. It is beyond words, beyond description. I often get asked, Philip, did you see God? My answer is no, but I saw the light. And the light was everything. The vibration of that light was God. God is the essence of all things, the purest energy, the source of all creation. We are just temporary vessels. Our bodies are shells, but our souls live on. And I believe we are here to learn, to grow, and to fulfill our soul's purpose before returning home. Today, I'm 55 years old, and my sister and I still talk about it, the girl from heaven, my journey to the other side, and the lessons I was meant to share. I believe I was sent back as a messenger to help others understand that there is something beyond this life. If you are grieving, if you have lost someone you love, please know this, they are not gone forever. We will see them again. I promise you, heaven is real. Have faith, believe, love, help others, and live your life in a way that strengthens your soul. Because that, my friends, is what lasts for eternity.